call this commission meeting to order at 0900 on Saturday, August the 10th. Please join me in the pledge. Guess we could have done a roll call first. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And while we're all still standing, we lost a good friend recently, and I would like to have a moment of silence for Roger Hogan. Roger was a good friend, not only personally, but to the railroad, and we're going to miss him dearly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Billy. Let the record reflect that there is a quorum of the commissioners present. I need to make some changes to the agenda. So I'll call to approve the agenda and then we'll have some discussion on it. So can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Approved by Scott, seconded by Mark. Number 11, A, B, C, and D will be deleted. And with that deletion, is there anything else other than that? Is the agenda good?
You'll have to delete 4 as well.
4? Yes, we'll have to delete 4 as well. Yeah. All in favor of the amended agenda of deleting item 4, approval of the minutes of the May meeting, and item 11, new business, A, B, C, and D, say aye.
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 CTO reports. Ed?
Good morning. Thank you, Billy. I'd like to welcome everybody, even though we don't have a large crowd today, but we're glad you came out to join us. During the summer, things get pretty busy, so getting people positioned for meetings like this is sometimes a little more difficult than it is during the off-season. We'll go through I think the same process we did the last time with a little bit of an introduction, then we'll follow with the superintendent, the marketing, and the financial, and then a little bit of a summary after that. The marketing piece will be done by me. Abby is very, very busy this morning. This is Chama days, as most of us who live on that side of the mountain recognize. Hopefully it's a little drier than it was this morning when we came over. But big events going on there, and Abby is holding down the fort from our position on that, so I'll try to cover a few points that Abby would have been talking about. So with that as an introduction, Marvin, would you lead off, please?
Well, so far as we started the season, we've actually, I think we've been able to stand on our feet. You know, we've had all of our equipment has been able to hold up, you know, to accomplish what we need to get done through the day. We've done real good so far in the passenger trains as far as everything that we've run and everything, you know, has gone out and made it back with no really big delays on it. So, you know, we're getting our customers in and out, you know, we're not having to deal with a big inconvenience for them. So I think that says a lot, you know, of what's going on, you know, as far as what we got out there. You know, we've had some issues on some of the stuff around the property, but it's a business. Things happen, and we just got to get it done. You know, we just take care of. You know, we go out there and we repair and we keep on going. So, I mean, that's the whole thing on it. You know, we have not had any significant fire issues. That's making the Forest Service happy. You know, and as we go, you know, that's what we aim for, is if we can keep other agencies at bay, we're able to do our work a lot easier. So that's where we're at on that. We did receive the trucks for the 114, and we got those put aside, ready to install when the rest of the engine shows up. But that we'll see, you know, when it gets here. You know, that's work in progress, so we'll sit on that for now. On our projects there in the shop, you know, I think we've accomplished a lot. 487 has a fire in it right now. We're testing some other stuff on it, so pretty soon we'll have another engine out there to back us up. You know, so that's been on there. PayCar F, we started working on the windows, trying to get some of that stuff on, some stuff off, get that taken care of. We sort of delayed PayCar F some because we were using Zell to help us with some of the woodwork on 487. You know, so we just trading off work here and there to get ahead. You know, other than that, I think overall, we've accomplished so far to where we're in line to where we haven't inconvenienced our passengers. We've made it more of a memory for them to come ride, and then you can go on your way, and instead of being unpredictable, you know. So I think our maintenance has proven that we've gotten ahead on what we've done. So that's basically where we've been at, you know, and what we'll continue to do for the rest of the season. You know, our goal is to try to make customers happy.
Well, I think we're absolutely doing that, and the locomotives and the cars look fantastic. They really do. And to have this many locomotives steaming this year is very impressive. So congratulations to the team for making that happen. It's huge.
I think all your employees have done an excellent job. You know, they've put that extra foot out there to try to get stuff done.
Absolutely.
You know, and a lot of times we don't see what they're doing, but you know, when stuff goes out there, you see somebody had to take care of this, and you know, you got a lot of people that you don't see, you don't know what they're doing, but you know, they are. You know, our traffic department has been busy, and we've used them. They have actually been the go-to people all this year, because every time we get in a bind for some reason, we stop track and we use them for something else. You know, we kept them working in this winter in the shop, and it paid off because we're farther ahead on our mechanical stuff than what we were, thanks to them. Also, when we come back and we look at what they've been done and the small amount of work that we've been able to help them with, they're still staying in line with what we got to do, because our track's actually in pretty good shape, So that's what we're looking at. Probably Wednesday, Thursday, we'll start moving rock for the track crew and see how much of that we can accomplish, because we will get our temper operator back right after Labor Day. He's going to be here, so we want to be ready for him. That way we don't waste his time. He's ready to go to work when he comes in. Trying to just utilize as much of his time as possible. So that's basically what we're trying to do right now, and keep going.
Well, please pass on our greatest thanks to everybody on the team, because you're absolutely right. There's a lot of, so much work goes into making the trains run. It's not just the mechanical crew, and not just the engine and the train crew. It's not just the ticketing team. It's just everybody throws in, and there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that has to happen to make this function. So thank you.
Just got a question. Do you know if, do you have enough information to estimate when 114 is going to arrive here in
No,
Anchorage?
I don't have enough information for
And
that.
we will put no estimate out.
Thank you, Marvin.
Thanks, Marvin.
Marvin.
I think if anything, Marvin has understated what's been accomplished. I think one way of looking at it is that we're trying to manage 2024 expectations with a property that's 100 years older than that in technology, and that's quite a challenge that these guys are successfully doing. So I think the other comment I'd just make anecdotally is I think the biggest delay we've had all year was a train that Marvin was the engineer and I was the conductor, and we had an airline brake pipe coupling fail, and it was a pretty significant failure. And true to form, Marvin somehow managed to stitch it together, and we were on our way in about an hour. So that's the kind of response we're able to do with the folks we have here. It's really something you feel good about.
Absolutely.
The other thing that I'd like to talk about is people, because we're trying to manage the expectations there, and one of the goals is to gain back what we lost in the pandemic. We dropped about 80% in ridership due to the pandemic, and we're slowly grinding our way back. And in terms of numbers, and I'll go into some of the things that Abby's doing right now. Last year, during the calendar year, we carried about 30,000 people. We're working on obviously increasing that to date, and we're not halfway through the season yet. We've carried over 14,000, and that does not include even our busy season, which will come in the fall. So I think our expectations are good in terms of where the ridership is going. Year to date, we're about roughly 20% above where we were last year at this time. Hopefully it'll continue at that pace because we need it. I mean, the passengers or the riders are the ones that provide the revenue to keep the operation going. A couple of comments. Abby does an awful lot of things technically. That's the part that even though Marvin manages a century-old property, Abby has to live in the modern world and does it quite successfully using some of the great tools we have and reaching out and getting past some of the traditional ones that maybe aren't as popular now. She's reported on the various social media and other electronic means of marketing. I'd like to just highlight one that surprised me a great deal. This year we have gone into the connected television realm, which is essentially subscription type television where the patron has the option of turning off commercials and not being bothered by them. And what is being reported back from these people is that the following rate, the rate in which people actually leave the commercials on for our commercials is actually 95%. which is surprising. I know our commercials are a whole lot better than laundry soap and some of the other things these people try to hawk on this stuff. And I'm sure they have just a curiosity piece. But our commercial, our new one, is, if you haven't seen it, is really pretty nice. It's got some nice graphics in it, some new scenes. Some of that drone footage has really spiced it up. So I think it's done well. And obviously, even it provides entertainment on connected TV, which I think is pretty good. Another piece that I find interesting is we're going to extend our local appreciation day radius a bit this year. We've expanded it to make sure that we include Taos as a target. It was in the past, it was outside the radius, and we're going to put some emphasis also on Pagosa, because one of I think the opportunities is to draw attention. I think in those communities, they don't know about us as much as we'd like. So we're going to give them a reason to ride at a reasonable price, very reasonable price, so that hopefully the ordinary people who tourists meet when they go through the town and visit there will know about us. And when someone says, hey, what do you do around here? Well, I took a ride on the railroad and it was pretty neat. And they'll hopefully express that to tourists who are visiting destination towns like Taos and Pagosa, so that we can get some better coverage from that as well. Other than that, I think the marketing is going pretty well. Obviously, we're getting more people in the seats. That was the objective, and we'll continue to do that. I know I haven't done as much stuff that Abby would have told you, but do you have any questions?
I think the success of the marketing is shown with the ridership, so that says a lot right there.
And I think part of it is we combined earlier this year the functions of the reservation system, the groups effort, and the general marketing, and combined, especially in the groups area, we're seeing really strong improvements there. So we'll keep our fingers crossed and keep working at it. The next thing is obviously the scorekeeping. How are we doing in terms of all the effort that Marvin's doing to keep people on the trains and Abby's doing to get them on the trains in the first place? But it all boils down to how we do financially. So, Alicia, would you enlighten us with how we are?
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
So I'll just kind of pick up where I left off with you guys yesterday. So I did meet with Fair Harbor, and it sounds like the reports, there's no question about whether the reports are accurate. It's just understanding what the reports can do for us with Fair Harbor. So there's a lot of different filters that you can do. We're gonna go through a training on Tuesday. So the finance department will sit and we'll have a training with Fair Harbor, and they'll kind of walk us through the basics as far as making a reservation, the different types of discounts that they can give. From what I understood yesterday is if a reservation is made and a discount is given for AARP, military, it'll show up on the report as long as all of the ticket agents are doing it the same way. So there's different ways that you can include a discount, and with the as long as there's consistency with the way reservations being booked, it'll show exactly what our discounts are. So I'm not as worried about the reports after talking with Zach. It's just navigating through through Fair Harbor is kind of the basis of everything. So I'll just go over a quick review. Right now we are just finished the fiscal year, so we are getting ready for our annual fiscal year-end audit. We have some invoices that are still slowly trickling in, so we are just trying to wrap that up so we can close the books at 6:30. The CTO trial balance, is basically ready for audit. If I were to turn that in now over to the auditors, the only adjustments that would have to be made would be towards our cost of goods sold and our sales for reservations, because we were just working on a pretty thorough reconciliation with Fair Harbor. But we're not going to turn it over to them yet until we can get those. We would rather be the ones to make the adjustments, so the audit team doesn't have to make that adjustment. So right into HPA, it'll reflect the historic preservation fee from our operating company, and that is an accurate number. So I was a little concerned about that, but it's actually right on. After the talk with Fair Harbor yesterday, so our management liability expense increased from prior year. We did do an adjustment with the policy, so now we're at an 18-month, so all of our policies align. So that is the reason for the increase. Commission, it's pretty quiet around this time of year, although we did receive the New Mexico General Fund support, so that will reflect in July. So we'll see that in July, that it's sitting in there. And also the trial balance for commission is pretty much ready as well. I can go into CTO and talk a little bit about CTO. So in reviewing our expenses, we're almost parallel from where we were from prior year. So at the beginning of, or at the end of the first quarter, we did ask that we kind of maintain our spending until till we started seeing earned revenue come through. And you can see on the graph that we did a pretty good job of kind of maintaining the expenses from April into May. But other than that, we are pretty fairly parallel with where we were last year. But we do have our expenses this year are just a tad bit lower than prior years, so that's good. If I go into our capital projects, I did have that sheet there as well. We are spending in capital, not as much as we were from last year. A lot of our employees that typically work on capital projects, they're staffing trains. So I think Max has one person with him, 1 to 2 people with him per day. So there's not as much, but we do see we are expensing ARPA. So something I didn't discuss yesterday, but we got to really work on getting that balance down and making sure that we're using that money. The capital billing is up to date through May 31st. So as soon as we get everything set and we are done with expenses into capital and CTO, we will do that June 30th billing, so everything is included on there. We don't want to close the books and then have, for some reason, something sitting out there that might need to go into fiscal year and have to push that. Typically what we try to do is if we get some type of invoice after the books are closed, if it's not a large dollar amount, we can push it into the new fiscal year. But we don't want anything large enough that's going to affect our fiscal year end. So we really want to make sure that those are put in at 6:30. But other than that, that's pretty much it for me. I'll know a little bit more as of Tuesday. That'll reflect, and I can get you all an updated income statement or a P&L that'll have our reflected numbers of the revenues, so you can see how that looks on the P&L.
Good.
Okay.
Well, congratulations
Thank you.
for being so far along, especially in preparation for the audit.
Yes, it is.
That's a big success.
It comes up pretty fast. So
It does.
We did start with the PBC items, so we are getting stuff to the auditor. This is just preliminary data that they ask for, so it's not so much auditing parts of it, it's just preliminary data that they get to build our financial statements.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
This is a crazy little business we're in. For the volume of business that we do, it's amazing how complicated it is. Because we not only does Marvin have to deal with a century-old plant to try to make it work, and Abby have to combine it with the electronic era in terms of getting people to come, but Alicia has to stitch it all together and deal with all the financial complexity of it, where we've got 4 separate businesses kind of tied together into one. For an entity that scale shouldn't require something like that, so she's got her hands full.
You're doing a great job, Alicia, thank you.
So, in summarizing things, I think you've seen a picture of how the functional parts of the railroad, the operations, the marketing and passenger service, and the financial come together. And the final piece is that we are a government entity. We're jointly owned by 2 states, which adds an additional layer of complexity. And one of the key pieces of that is that we depend upon state support to cover our capital needs. And I guess I'm happy to report that our season last year was very successful. Not only were we able to get what we asked for our base requirement, but we were able to get additional capital approved in both states. So that was really a great season there. And just when you think you're feel good about it, we immediately jump into the next season. We've already begun on the New Mexico side requesting our capital support there. We were able to gain a modest increase to offset some of the inflationary pressures in our base amount last year, and we're going back for the same this year. We're in the process of putting together the portion under general fund that supports our commission operations, and again, we were able to increase that a bit last year, and we're going to ask for a little bit more this year. The Colorado side's a little bit different. We are buried, I shouldn't say buried, we are an active component of History Colorado. And that's actually a good parent-child relationship, but because of the way it's set up, things have been traditionally done on a 3-year cycle. We were able to complete this past 3-year cycle with this legislative session and actually gain some additional money to help us with fire mitigation. But now we're beginning the process of going and building the new 3-year cycle, and somehow that's a tough one because you ask for a little more, particularly when you're coming out of an inflationary period. And Colorado is more constrained now on what they can support. So we've got some challenges there, but the process is in effect. We passed our initial submission to the governor's office, and we already got a whole page and a half of questions back that we're going to have to answer. But again, they're sensitive, they're good questions, and we will answer them, and we will persevere so that by the time the legislative sessions begin and after the first the calendar year, we'll be prepared to go and see that we get the capital funding that we need to keep this place going. Other than that, that's kind of a summary of where we are. I'd certainly entertain any questions that you folks have to fill in the gaps. Silence.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
Okay.
Thanks, Ed.
Thank you guys for the support, because any kind of a organization needs an oversight board, and it's important that we have a good one. So thank you.
Very welcome.
Local affairs?
Well, I haven't had anybody bugging me, so I guess local affairs are in good shape. A rogue comment on occasion, and Tim asked me yesterday about an issue, and I think we got that addressed. So I think that the communities are very happy they're always happy that we're running trains, but I think, and I think I stated this yesterday, that coming out of COVID, I think that a lot of the businesses have a different attitude, and grateful for whatever's happening, and it seems that things are happening. The motels are full in Chama. I've always said they just take care of themselves, so I think things are going well, unless you've had any.
I haven't had any. No, it has been quiet.
Quiet is good in this case.
It is, yeah. Just as long as that whistle's blowing.
Yep.
10 o'clock. Capital projects?
I think both Marvin and Ed were a little too modest. There's been an awful lot of work that's gone on during this last winter season, and there's been a fair amount of interest on various forums asking questions about the status of things. So I thought I'd just run through, but the railroad has 6 steam locomotives operational today. It's been a while since that's been the case. 168, it's ready to go for the post-season photo trips. 463's been holding down the east end of the railroad. In this last winter, it received its 5-year flexible stay bolt inspection. It's gonna need a lot of running gear work this coming winter, including some new driver tires. 484, it also received a 5-year flexible stay bolt inspection. So doing 2 of those in 1 year is a significant accomplishment for the railroad. Normally that's spread out. And it also received a fair amount of running gear work. 87, it has received a huge amount of work, and it was removed from service in 2021 due to some star cracking around stay bolts, and then we discovered that the firebox sheets were incredibly thin. So there were some questions on what on earth's gone on with that locomotive. So let me just walk through so everybody understands the extent of the work, because it's quite impressive. It got a new tender cistern. The tender frame was inspected, repaired, and repainted. It had an oil bunker installed and all the supply piping, so that took care of the tender. The lower 18 to 24 inches of the firebox were removed. New corners were fabricated, new side sheets were fabricated, lower rear flue sheet, partial door sheet. Then everything was re-riveted to the mud ring. A large throat sheet patch was installed at the same time. There was an outer wrapper sheet patch around the engineer side blowdown valve. The arch tubes were removed. It was converted, it's gone through a conversion to oil using the Durango and Silverton's fire pan design. Oil burner, firing valve, and all of the plumbing to support the oil burner was installed. The butterfly fire doors were replaced with an air damper fire door. The front end was modified with the removal of the cyclone, replacement of the blast nozzle, and a new petticoat pipe for the oil drafting. The crossheads were refurbished, the piston rings were replaced, the cab was rebuilt with new wood in the floor and the walls. The locomotive's been repainted, and the plan is to go test it on some ballast trains here in the near future. That was a huge amount of work, and it was all done here in Antonito. That locomotive is, as Marvin said, is steamed up, and there's some things that'll get sorted out over the next few weeks, testing it on some ballast trains before releasing it for passengers. 88's in the normal service rotation, and 89 received some modifications to the oil bunker to reduce water pickup in the fuel oil. That's been a significant improvement, and Avery's folks made a change over the winter that really improved the firing on that locomotive. He's also identified some more work that's got to be done on that oil bunker. As Marvin said, 114 is sitting in Bellingham, Washington. It came down by barge. The trucks got shipped in here to Antonito, and it will ship by truck from Bellingham to Antonito sometime after the permits are secured for moving that load. There's a lot of other things going on just other than the locomotive work. The lava tank work is going to resume this later this month. There's an architectural design underway for a replacement pavilion for Cumbres. Thank you, New Mexico. Engineering evaluation of the Chama Roundhouse has been submitted to Ed to look at the structural improvements there. Marvin's crew have been working on a new coach, number 526. It's been progressing. And over the winter, cars 65, 256, and 292 were all repainted. The Osier Dining Hall got an exterior paint this spring, and engineering evaluation's been completed on the culverts at Long Creek, which date from 1930s, late 1930s, so they're approaching 90 years old, and metal culverts don't last forever. So there's going to be a significant expenditure to fix that problem. But I just want to congratulate the railroad staff for all that's happening over this last winter. It's been a fantastic accomplishment.
Agree, it has
That-
been.
It's a gigantic amount of work.
Yeah.
It really is.
So Marvin, thank everybody. They've done an amazing job.
Thank you.
Questions? Tim? Did you bring pictures?
Huh?
Did you bring pictures?
Oh, hell, a lot of them. We get a lot of thanks to Don Atkinson. He takes a lot of photos, so I guess I can, it's a way to spice up a normally maybe boring one.
Thank you.
Thank you,
I don't want to say boring.
Thank you, Tim.
They're not. Anyway, so we just got done with our 6th work session for the year, and Steve was here, Don. They've been here 2 weeks in Antonito, and we've done some work at Sublette, and we had a crew in Chama, didn't we? A little small.
We had a crew, well, Steve was in Chama,
Yeah.
doing lettering. We had a crew up at Cumbres, working on the car inspector's house. And we had a crew in Sublette.
Right.
Working on the roof and the back wall.
Yeah, they got rain, except they got rained out yesterday.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, with the rain. So anyway, we've gotten through 6 weeks. You'll see some numbers Scott Hardy supplied me over the last 3 years, and then on the last page, I put them in kind of a chart form, so you'll see how we've done. I mean, we've, pretty much held our own as far as, in the 20s for A and B, and then you'll see what we've done, C and D in Chama. So, we've been in the 80s and high 70s. Last year, D, we're down at 59, but we rebounded to 70. So, and then we're in the 30s and low 40s for E and F. So, that gives you some idea. I mean, our struggles are to find people, to volunteer for work sessions. It's obviously drastically different than 20 years ago when I got here, just because we've had so many people either pass on or they're not very as good a health, or want to do something else, I guess, with the last days of their life, or last years maybe. I don't want to say be that dire. Anyway, but last years of their life. So anyway, great job by all of our work session folks. I mean, there's a lot to getting it organized. Don is constantly looking for team leaders, and that's a challenge, finding people not only to work but to help lead some of these teams. So there's a lot into it, as you know, John Ings, with what he's purchasing and that sort of stuff. So a lot goes into it. So appreciate all the efforts that go into that during the course of the year. So over the last few weeks, we've had a couple trains. We had the Moonlight and Wine train, as you see some of the pictures. So Ed, thanks to you. Kathy, you were taking care of the caboose and parlor car people, I guess, so thank you. We had a couple cabooses on it, so appreciate all the efforts there, Ed, with the crews. And I know it's a little extra for you, but I think that was a good schedule getting out after the regular train came in, so appreciate that. The work on the Express Bay Car 163 continues. Don, when's your next session?
Well, it'll be the third Saturday.
Third
And I
Saturday?
think there's a 5th Saturday this month too, if I remember correctly.
So typically every other week.
Well, we normally work 1st, 3rd, and 5th Saturdays. During the summer, because a lot of us are down here,
So-
we miss a few weeks during the summer. But plus, quite honestly, that ticket gets pretty high inside.
So anyway, yeah, Don's on that crew, so he coupled some pictures there of the work they're doing up there on the sills and, diligently working to get that car back in operational order. The other train we had last Saturday was the mixed photo, trying to replicate a chili line train. And Don spearheaded that as far as the run by, so there's some photos in from that. And we appreciate, again, Ed and Marvin and the crew, all the help there to make that successful. Got a lot of run-bys in on the way to Osier. We got a few less in on the way back, but overall, I think we had a lot of happy campers. So, which is good. That's what we want, and it helps both organizations. And then last but not least, I did mention it yesterday, but our board meeting and banquet will be in Colorado Springs at the Radisson Hotel Airport on October 25th. And then you're all invited, and I'll try and remember to send an email. And then the next day, John's got the, over at the Air Museum, right?
Yeah, there's a World War II museum. It's connected to the Colorado Springs Airport. It's a very interesting place, and their restoration shop is fantastic.
So, you're all invited, and hopefully you'll come to that. Would appreciate it. Now, the other thing I wanted to pass on, I don't know if you've seen these, but our educational folks are doing these trading cards
Oh, cool.
for train shows and the like. And so there you go.
Thank you.
Trying to do one structure on one piece of equipment. And actually, you wanna pass them out to everybody?
Sure.
So, over time, we try and do a couple a year, I guess, but, so, there you go. So,
These are terrific.
Yeah, they
kind
really
of a
love
neat,
these.
yeah, kind of a neat little
Yeah.
deal as far as, passing out to whoever, and so that's, our educational folks, initiative.
There's like a set of 10, right? Is that?
Well, right now, we just have these two.
Just these two, but that's the intent.
Yeah, they're gonna try and do a couple every year and do a piece of equipment and a structure, so. Anyway,
Yeah, these are
That's
neat.
great.
kinda
Really
neat.
cool. These are really, I like these, and you're this far into it, you might as well do a Monopoly game next.
What's that?
I said, you're this far into it, you might as well do a Monopoly game next.
Right, you could, yeah, probably could, right? So, anyway, that's it. So if there's any question or comments, I'll entertain them. But thank you for all the support as always, and Kim, thank you. Yesterday is our discussion about the internal, work session, conversations we have and that sort of thing. So, anyway, again, thank you for all the support.
Well, thank you
It's
and the
appreciated.
friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be where we are without the friends, that's for sure, and their work is noted and greatly appreciated.
Well, we try anyway, huh? So,
Yep, really appreciate it.
Maybe they'll become collector's items and we can, trade you a Willie Mays for a Ted Williams or something.
Yeah. A 483 through 489.
Exactly.
There you
Yeah.
go.
The commission is going to have executive session.
No trucks across borders?
Oh, sorry, missed it. Tracks across borders, sorry.
I wasn't gonna do it.
I don't think anyone's here.
Nobody present. Old business? Now, can I go to executive session?
You may, Commissioner.
He's keeping us in order. Can I get a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Scott?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
And Billy says yes. So at 9:44, we're in executive session. Can I get a motion to go back into regular session?
So moved.
Second.
Scott?
Back into regular session, yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Billy says yes. Let the record reflect at 10:10, we are back in regular session. And also, let the record reflect there were no decisions made in executive session. Do we have anything else we need to discuss?
I just want to thank Ed. Ed, thank you. Your report's excellent, and
You're welcome.
you've, as mentioned last time, you've stepped in, and I think you're doing a fantastic job. Greatly appreciated.
It's fun and it's never a dull moment. Got some good people though to make it work.
Absolutely. And just wanted to acknowledge one of our guests. Thank you for coming up from Chama. It's important you're here. Thank you, Barbara.
In the fog and the rain. We will be holding a Zoom meeting sometime in the near future to vote on some items, so we'll get that organized and put on the website and posted, so. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.